New season, new moon, new magic. Good morning, my loves. My name is Comet. This is Magic Monday, and welcome to your astrological weather report for the week of December 19th to December 25th. What is happening within this week's astrology and what I'm more interested in covering every single week here in my cosmic corner of the internet is how you, my love, are going to lean into these themes. How you are going to plan your week in order to embrace the opportunities hand delivered to us from the cosmos, and how you are going to plan your week in order to offset some of the challenging transits that the cosmos are sending us for growth and character development. If you wouldn't mind, if you gain any value from this video, I would deeply appreciate hitting any of the buttons below. It so helps me to continue to produce cosmic content, so thank you so much for being here. And my love, you may be asking, what is the weather forecast for this week? Is it sunny skies of abundance and opportunities? Is it rainstorms of challenges and unexpected upheavals? Will it be a white Christmas? So my loves, let's get into it. This week, what you need to know is there is this rush of novelty. There is this rush of newness. There is this rush around getting inspired about the future, and not just what the future will entail, but the heights that we could ascend to, the version of ourselves that we will meet if we rise up to the challenge. There is this excited vibe about this week because we have Jupiter re-entering Aries, which is really ramping up our boldness, our courage to want to dream bigger, right? And we got a preview of this transit earlier this year, so think like kind of summertime, fall time. Yeah, that was your preview for the Jupiter and Aries story, and it's to be continued moving into the end of this year, going into next year. And that Jupiter is also interwoven into the Capricorn new moon on Friday. So the Capricorn new moon is grounded, it's ambitious, and it's squaring off with Jupiter newly in Aries, which yes, is great in regards to this fresh new energy, fresh new goals, fresh new season. But I will advise to exercise some caution, my love, because there is an overzealous vibe. And, you know, Mercury is in its pre-retrograde shadow. Mars is still retrograde, and that's who that Jupiter is answering to. So while this is a really potent week to get excited about the future of what it could entail, of who you could be within the future, ensure that you are not skipping steps or getting ahead of yourself, okay? So my loves, before we break down the Capricorn new moon with the ambition and the fresh new energy that it embodies, let's talk about a secret weapon for you to have in your fridge and in your hand in order to conquer all of those new challenges and new goals. My loves, let's chat about Magic Mind, who is sponsoring this week's Magic Monday. Magic Mind is a productivity drink. So what that means is that not only is it just giving you caffeine, and it's a healthier form of caffeine, it's matcha, it works with your brain to put you into flow state, promoting more focus, more memory recall, and less of a crash. So loves, like I said about this week's astrology, there is an impatient vibe to it, right? So let's say you're an Aries, so you have Mars in the first house, like you want things to happen yesterday. You may enjoy just taking the Magic Mind shot. You could just drink it alongside of your morning coffee or on your way to work. Lately, what I've been into is making a little like Magic Mind latte, because I just love to sip something. It just feels like I always, whenever I'm doing any sort of work task, I always want to have a drink alongside me. Like it's your little work companion, right? So you can make it iced, you can warm it up. There's so many different ways to drink it. And what I've noticed since consistently taking it, because you guys know if you watch Magic Monday, I've been a fan of Magic Mind for a while. I'm drinking less coffee, which is amazing. Guys, it was getting to a point where it was like 3 entire pots. Granted, I do have a little coffee pot, but 3 pots of coffee. Like it was kind of getting out of control. I have no fire in my chart, so I used to kind of counteract the lack of fire within my chart by just drinking more and more coffee. But without the Magic Mind, I've actually been able to cut down my caffeine consumption a lot, which in turn has helped me feel less stressed as well as sleep better. So I am so grateful. Like Magic Mind is really special because it doesn't like make your cortisol shot up, which is a stress hormone, which is something that I'm always mindful of. And the adaptogens and nootropics work with your brain rather than forcing your brain and body to jack up your energy levels. It actually promotes your brain's flow state, focus, memory recall. So you can, yes, feel more energized to take on your day and the magic that it may entail, but also ensure that you are not depleting your body in that quest, as well as that you are honing in on what is the most important to you. So I am so grateful to Magic Mind. This is a very stressful time of year for a lot of us, and with the help of Magic Mind, I've felt very focused, balanced, and it's helped me get excited about all of this motivated, ambitious Capricorn energy that we are moving into. Use my code COMET20 to get up to 43% off your first subscription for the next 10 days. So thank you so much, Magic Mind, for sponsoring this video. You all keep my world magical and you keep Mondays magical. And without further ado, let's break it down into this week's astrology vibe check of the week. Okay, love, so I went ahead and put my drink down so you don't have to hear the ice clinking in my cup, but just know, whenever there is a jump cut within this video, it's because I'm taking a sip of my Magic Mind latte. Okay, love, so vibe check of the week is when we break down the astrological influences and liken it into a real life scenario so that you can begin to tune in to this energy if Venus trine Uranus, Jupiter enter Aries doesn't necessarily elicit a strong emotion on its own. Okay, love, so this week's vibe check feels like a job interview, okay? And I know it's cliche. Capricorn starts this season and I'm talking about jobs. I know a lot of Capricorns are like, can people talk about our sign without likening it to capitalism and corporations? And my love, Capricorn season is so much more than that. Really, the essence of Capricorn is about ascending to the peak of our own potential, of our own abilities. So it's not to say that every Capricorn needs to go be a CEO. Like, a lot of Capricorns will feel on this quest to ascend to the peak of their ability as a mother, the peak of their ability as an artist, the peak of their ability as a shepherd, as a farmer. Really, the industry doesn't matter, the application doesn't matter. There is this desire to flesh out and be able to build to the highest of their potential. Capricorn is all about grounding down into where that energy is currently while fixing its gaze upon how they can arise or ascend to the peak of what it is that they are capable of, okay? So I'm so sorry to the Capricorns out there who are like, talk about Capricorn without mentioning a job challenge. But hear me out. Here's why this week's astrology feels like a job interview. So we have Venus in Capricorn trining Uranus in Taurus. Now, Venus is love, but it's also money. So with Venus trining Uranus, it's almost this energy around I'm open to new streams of income, right? I am open to new ways of dialing in my income, of ascending to the highest of my potential financially, right? And then we have Jupiter in Aries, which is really this rush of boldness, of courage, right? It takes courage to apply to that job, to put yourself out there. And the vibe with Jupiter in Aries, P.S., I have an entire video on that where you are having this kind of lucky, bold, fresh new burst of energy within your chart. But really the essence of it is that fortune favors the bold. Like with Jupiter in Pisces, we might have been just kind of lucky when it relates to our intuition and our psychic abilities. But Jupiter in Aries is like, if you want it, you have to go for it. You have to shoot your shot, right? You have to be okay with the no. You have to be okay with rejection. And so with Jupiter in Aries, it's the vibe around, I want to work in this industry. I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to imply. Venus trine Uranus, I'm open to new streams of income, or I'm open to more money, or I'm open to work again. And then we have this Capricorn new moon, which is this solid fertile ground around planting the seeds of our new career or what it is that we want, the new direction we want to build towards. And with the square to Jupiter in Aries, there is this rush of fresh new energy, right? But hear me out and be honest, okay? Be honest. Jupiter is in Aries, so this is a time to be for real, okay? When you're at a job interview, are you really that passionate about direct-to-consumer marketing? Or are you really that passionate about Excel spreadsheets? Is it really your ambition to be able to help a company double their profits? Maybe not, like maybe there's parts of what we say during job interviews that are true, but certainly not all of it. Like we might be playing it up a little bit like, yes, it would be my biggest dream to help you and help these spreadsheets. And like, yes, when I go to bed, all I dream about is profit margins. Like that is what I dream about. I wake up and I get so excited about the potential of search engine optimization. Like it's my passion. It's why I'm here. Like you have to play it up, right? Because people want to work with someone who is passionate. And there's also this desire around you're really trying to sell it around, I could do this for your company. I could do this for your company. What if we did this? What if we did this? And be real. Like there's this new zest, right, about starting a new job. But in 3 months, it's like, oh, why did I pitch this new spreadsheet thing? This is so annoying. I don't want to do this. But you're not going to let that show at the job interview. Like you want the job. You're going to sell it. You're going to be excited. You're going to play up your enthusiasm and your passion. And that's what this week's astrology feels like. Because while there's this fresh new burst of optimism, certainly not everything, I always say this with Jupiter, not everything will play out. Not every idea that you pitch during that interview will come to fruition. There will be certain work days when you are not the punctual team player that you sold yourself as during the interview. Like work is work. Like there is this rush of excitement during the job interview, but there will be days that that particular job feels like work. Like my Capricorn mom once told me, she's like, Haley, work is work. Like a job is always going to be a job. Like you might be passionate about it. You might like it most days, but there's still going to be days when you're just like, ugh, this is work, right? And so with this particular week, I do advise setting your sight. You know, we have a lot of retrograde planets or planets about to be retrograde, so it's not the time that I would say, yes, all systems go, but it is a time to get excited about the future and what it can entail. Get excited about your business, get excited about your relationship, about your ambitions, about your goals. It is a time to set our sights, to get excited, maybe and temper our enthusiasm and impatience a little bit, right? Like with the Capricorn energy, it's always going to favor slow and steady and grounded. It's so funny when I think of this Capricorn new moon, because it's like in my mind, in my weird mind, how I visualize it is like the Capricorn new moon is like grounded, mature. So that's like the interviewer, right? It's like, we need to fill this position. This is our company's aims. This is our ambitions. And then the Jupiter in Aries is sort of the eager young person who just wants this job, right? And they're like, we could do this and this and this and this. And Jupiter in Aries just has all these ideas. There's all this eagerness. There's all this enthusiasm. The Capricorn moon is like, one step at a time, like hold your horses. Like certainly maybe we can do some of those things, but let's take it one step at a time, right? So without further ado, let's take it into our day-by-day analysis. Please know that anytime that I mention a time, it is PST or GMT -8. So make sure to adjust to your time zone if you are not on the West Coast of the United States as I am. And all timestamps are below if you want to jump ahead or come back to a particular day. That is available for you. So good morning, loves. Happy Monday. Welcome to your December 19th horoscope. So Venus in Capricorn squares Chiron in Aries, and then Chiron in Aries sextiles Mars in Gemini. So here's what you need to know. Firstly, with Venus in Capricorn, Capricorn energy in general, but especially Venus in Capricorn, is about that ROI, return on investment. So with Venus in Capricorn, it's really looking at our love relationships, which is a Venus dimension, our money, which is a Venus dimension, our beauty, which is a Venus dimension, and really looking at it in terms of what am I getting out of this? And it's not to say that Capricorn is a selfish energy, but it is grounded. It is realistic. It is with Venus and Capricorn looking at a relationship and being like, am I able to build within this connection? Is this going somewhere? The time that I'm investing here, does it feel constructive, right? With Venus and Capricorn, it's looking at our finances very realistically. Like, am I getting to where it is that I want to go? Am I investing my energy where I'm getting a return, right? Where I'm investing my time at work, where I'm investing my time within my business. With Venus and Capricorn, it's also looking at, you know, the money that we could spend on aesthetic things, home decor, clothes, and seeing like, are these up to my standards? Are these high quality, right? So there is high standards with Venus and Capricorn. With the square to Chiron, there's a certain wound. Maybe there's a wound around we don't feel as beautiful as we want to feel. Maybe we don't feel as abundant as we want to feel. Maybe we don't feel as loved and as valued as we want to feel. There's a little bit of a wound. But what's interesting about Monday's astrology is that we're wanting to do something about it, because after that happens, Chiron sextiles Mars. So it's like this energy around not wanting to stew in our insecurity, but wanting to proactively fix it or do something to move the needle in a new direction. And to bring it back to the vibe check, like this is a vibe, check your bank account and be like, okay, I need a job. I need a job. I'm not able to invest in what's valuable to me. It's time to apply. And rather than stewing in it around how did I get so broke with the sextile to Mars, it's like, I'm going to do something about it, right? And so not everybody will feel it financially. There certainly could be a ping around checking your bank account, being like, or feeling this energy, because we'll get into the overall astrology of Monday, but there could be a vibe around this job again and having a wound around, I'm so annoyed that I have to do this for money. This is so obnoxious. You can also feel it when it comes to your relationship, like feeling this energy around, I'm not feeling that loved. I'm not feeling that valued. I'm not feeling that beautiful. And what I would advise is Mars sextile Chiron, look for opportunities to do something about it, right? The tendency and the desire to want to stew in your unhappiness is high on Monday because it is moon day. The moon is in her fall of Scorpio all day. So there is a vibe where you are feeling things very intensely. You're feeling things in terms of extremes. You're feeling up and down and hot and cold. And there's certainly a temptation to stew in that misery or in that insecurity around, well, my partner just doesn't love me anymore. Or like, I'll just never look like that. Or I'll never have a job that I'll feel good about. With Mars sextile Chiron, it's like, what are the practical steps that we can do to improve the situation? Maybe you don't want to quit your job necessarily, but maybe you can take on a new project that interests you a little bit more. With your relationship, can you guys have a conversation around where you are not feeling valued? When it comes to your own aesthetic, what activities can you do that will promote you feeling more beautiful and more valuable? Like, there is a vibe certainly and a tendency. So again, it's okay if it's a case of the Mondays, okay? Like Scorpio moon Monday, this is the vibe around spilling on your shirt and being late to work and your pencil sharpener isn't working and you just want to cry. It's not the huge things that are putting you over the edge. It's like all of these little things and being like, well, why do I even have a job? Why do I even try at this point, right? Like, this absolutely reminds me of my Gemini full moon that I had last week, which I shared what happened to me in last week's Magic Monday, but it was such a bad day. It was just such a bad day, but I was able to keep it together. I hadn't cried. And then that evening I saw one of like those word search things that was like, the first 3 words that you see will be your 2023, right? Will be words that are representative of your 2023. And the first word that I spotted was crabs. What's crabs? And outside of just even the health dimension that would be insinuating, I also am just very fearful of crabs. Like, this isn't against my Cancer placements, I promise, but ever since I was little, crabs do not sit well with me. They scare me with their pinchers. They frighten me. I'm not a fan. I don't know why. They just scare me. I just feel like they're gonna pinch me. I don't like that they move sideways. I never know what to expect. I love cancers, but I just don't love crabs. And so finding that as like the word that was going to describe my 2023, for some reason, that is what pushed me over the edge. Like, it wasn't the cup of tea that I accidentally dumped on my laptop. It wasn't the computer repairman who told me how much it would be to fix it, if they're even able to fix it. It's still at the shop at the time of filming this. It wasn't the argument got into. No, none of that drove me to tears. But the final straw was seeing that my 2023 was going to be about crabs. I just lost it. I just sobbed. And like, that's the vibe of the Scorpio moon, is like, there is a vibe where all of those little things you can be taking really emotionally or really intensely. And there could be like that final little inconvenience that is just like, should I even have this job? Should I even be here? Like, what the heck is the point of it all if my 2023 is going to be about crabs? Like, I'm livid. So all I want to say is, when it comes to the Venus stuff, any sort of ping or energy around, I wish I looked like her, or like, I wish my bank account looked like that, or I wish my relationship felt like this, I want you to be proactive with it with Mars sextile Chiron. I want you to look for opportunities that you can improve your situation, feel better about your situation, and move within that direction. I do want to let you know it's not all bad. Like, the Scorpio moon is building to sextile that Venus in Capricorn. So you can find at work, while there's inconveniences, you might be feeling more emotional or intense. With the sextile to Venus, there can be a strong call around wanting to feel connected, wanting to go deep within your connections, whether it's like at work having meetings where you're like, okay, we're all on the same page about this. Maybe it's coming home to your partner and being like, listen to the day that I just had. Whether it's like snuggling with your cat and just feeling better about the day, ordering some Thai food. There is just a vibe in the afternoon time where it's about grounding, it's about connection, it's about harmonizing, it's about enjoying. And I do want to highlight, you'll want to see which house holds Scorpio for you, because we don't all experience these moon transits the same. Certainly the collective themes of the sign will be feeling, but for you with your Scorpio moon transiting, say, the 5th house, it might be a very fun time for you. Or with your Scorpio moon in the 10th house, you might be feeling very ambitious. So it's always helpful to dial in the nuance. And just so you guys know, my digital astrology planner, you have an option to be able to dial in, oh, this is landing my 3rd house, which allows you to build that muscle around understanding where these astrology aspects are coming to the surface within your chart. So if Monday is ruled by the moon, Tuesday is ruled by Mars. And how apt is that as the day starts out in a Mars-ruled moon sign, Scorpio moon. I'm a traditional astrologer, so I use traditional rulerships. And we have Jupiter entering Aries, which is the other Mars-ruled sign. So a lot of Mars energy. And like I said, there is an energy around taking our insecurities that are triggered or taking what's coming to the surface and taking it into our own hands, right? Doing something about it. Like for me, dumping tea on my computer, I hated it. I was deeply unhappy, but I did something about it. I took it to the repair shop. I tried to take those steps forward. And that's the vibe with Tuesday morning as well. But there is this forward momentum that is building within the cosmos. So what you need to know about Jupiter in Aries. So Jupiter is where it is that we can experience the most luck, abundance, and blessings. And with the energy in Aries, we can experience the most luck when we are independent, when we are self-sufficient, and when we are bold, when we are courageous, essentially. Jupiter in Aries is basically fortune favors the bold embodied. Like with Jupiter in Pisces, it might have been enough to just like manifest and dream about what we wanted. With Jupiter in Aries, it's like, no, good things happen to those who dare to take a chance, right? Those who dare to risk it, those who dare to apply for that job. Like you could go into that interview and they can laugh in your face. They can laugh at you and your love for spreadsheets and laugh you right out of that office building, right? The fear can't hold you back from trying, right? It can't hold you back from initiating. You might see the most attractive person that you've ever seen, and you might go up to them and ask them out, and they might say no. Life goes on. You have to dust yourself off and keep trying. Like Aries is the energy around feeling motivated by a challenge, right? Not only by conquering the challenge, but in the version of ourselves that we will arrive to when we move through the fear and go after what we want. Forward, direct, honest, authentic. These are all themes with Jupiter and Aries, as well as independent. Maybe you're someone where you don't like to do things alone. It's like, I wanted to do salsa dancing, but I don't want to do it by myself. Or I want to try this new job, but I've never met anybody who does something like that. In Jupiter and Aries, it's saying, believe in yourself. Go after what it is that you want. You don't need anybody to validate you. Like that's why the most successful people get really good at failing. They fail quickly and they fail hard because you learn from failure. You pick yourself up and you pivot. It's all about not giving up. So with Jupiter and Aries, I just want to say there is this rush of initiative. There is this rush of courage. Keep in mind, it's answering to Mars, who's retrograde. So I would particularly recommend this rush of courage when it comes to maybe initiatives that have already been started in some way, someone that you've already been crushing on, a job idea that you've already had and sort of been working on. This is a burst of fresh new energy. And with this particular rush of fresh new energy, it'll also impact a house within your chart. So make sure to watch that Jupiter in Aries video to check that out. And so as far as the moon aspects on Tuesday, so the Scorpio moon does sextile Mercury in Capricorn, which is helpful as it relates to writing, communicating. There does feel to be something restricting or a no with the Scorpio moon squaring Saturn in Aquarius. Again, like putting yourself out there, it sucks sometimes and you have to dust yourself back off. And the Scorpio moon then trines Neptune in Pisces. So it's asking you to connect to your own big picture, to nourish yourself. So to give an example, like with the moon square Saturn, this is like putting yourself out there to play piano at this restaurant and they're like, no. With Scorpio moon trining Neptune, it's like, don't allow that to diminish your pure love for piano, right? Like with Scorpio moon trining Neptune, it is really helpful as it relates to creation, connecting with your spirit, connecting with your intuition. Like sometimes it can be so frustrating when you want something so bad and the universe is just like, no, no, no. And you're like, why? Like this is the sort of energy where it's like, you just need to trust. Like that rejection was your protection. Trust me. Like you not playing piano at that restaurant is going to work out. Like with the moon trining Neptune, it is asking for this element of surrender, this element of trust, as well as Neptunian themes, obviously, is creativity, daydreaming, envisioning. I also want to highlight we are in the waning crescent moon, also called balsamic moon. as we prepare for Friday's new moon. And so knowing that this is the case, you might feel a little bit more introspective. You might not want to like go out and be seen, be visible, be perceived within this world. Like the next day is the winter solstice, you know, which is typically the most private day of the year, right? Or summer solstice, actually, if you are in the southern hemisphere. But in the northern hemisphere, winter solstice, which is a very introspective time. And that's heightened by this waning crescent moon. So giving yourself grace if you are feeling less social at work, if you're more inclined to just want to work on your own tasks, or maybe just spending time in nature, moving a little bit slower with your day, feeling a lot. I mean, honestly, on Tuesday, it feels like you could be really, really emotional. And I want you to think of it in terms of, because this moon phase is all about essentially letting go, shedding, and surrendering as we prepare for this new start. The energy of solstice is about coming inward, reflecting, and conserving. And so with the Scorpio moon trining Neptune, whether it's getting rid of physical belongings, which is a spiritual act. Seriously, cleaning your home is a spiritual act. It's inviting in fresh new energy. It's releasing the old. Or maybe it's just feeling a lot for the purpose of letting it go, releasing it. It's attuning to your own world, getting lost in spirit, getting lost in creativity, just coming inward to nourish and refresh your soul. I just highlight this because I just don't want you to feel guilty if you're not in the most social mood. I don't want you to feel guilty if you're feeling very emotional, if you're processing, if you're healing. This is all coming to the surface for you to let it go, to have this fresh new start come Friday. And remember how powerful you are with the Scorpio moon, sextile Pluto and Capricorn. Like I said, with the square to Saturn, there could have been a no or a hindrance or frustration. The trine to Neptune is asking you to believe, to trust that this is all playing out for a reason. When the sextile to Pluto and Capricorn, it's reminding you of your own power. Again, it's very Mars-y day. Take things into your own hands. You've got this. And then that evening, the moon enters Sagittarius and then promptly trines Jupiter, which is newly in Aries. Fresh new burst of energy. I promise to you, Monday and Tuesday is kind of like sad girl hours, but you can expect whether you're up on Tuesday night and up to feel this, or maybe you feel it early Wednesday morning, there will feel this fresh new rush of energy, or at least feeling a little bit more optimistic about the new adventures that you'll have, the new version of yourself that you will become. So Wednesday is solstice. So happy solstice, my love. Winter solstice for those in the northern hemisphere, summer solstice for those in the southern hemisphere. And with the energy of solstice, right? It's when essentially here in the northern and here in the north, the nights are the longest, right? There in the south, the days are the longest. There's this energy of contrast, right? It's this energy of extremes. And we can feel contrast around where it is that we are and where it is that we want to be and feel discouraged, right? Or you can allow yourself to just be in the season of life that you are in while being hopeful that your season is coming. That's where I want to be. This is where I am now, right? And there's that contrast. There's that element around how do I get there? And you can either be inspired by it around, okay, I'm in this season of my life. I'm in this winter of my life where I'm being asked to conserve. I'm being asked to process. I'm being asked to heal, whatever the story is that's coming up around this solstice. But I trust that my season will come, right? In this element of contrast, allowing yourself to know that this particular season won't last forever, allowing yourself to set your sights on what it is that you're motivated to pursue or go after, right? And leaning into the season, because I'm talking to a lot of people about Mars retrograde, and like so many people are just feeling like lazy, not motivated, and I'm like, the cosmos built in this opportunity for us to rejuvenate our energy stores. So you are simply in tune with the cosmos. You are simply in tune with nature, right? Like you are not a machine. And with this energy of solstice and energy of contrast, like understanding your present reality doesn't entail all that you will do and all that you will become and all that you'll be. Even that person's feeling me on this. This present reality doesn't describe the entirety of who it is that you are. So feel into this winter, feel into these contrasts, right? Of these long nights and short days, or vice versa, for where it is that you are, and allow yourself to feel excited, especially as we move into the later part of the week, around where things can go, knowing that this season of your life doesn't last forever. The night will not last forever. The winter will not last forever. Allow yourself to be where you are. The energy of Capricorn is very rooted and grounded, while setting your sights on what it is that you will achieve and who it is that you will become, what new challenges you will conquer, especially when we consider the Capricorn sun does square Jupiter in Aries, which is this fresh new rush of energy. Like there's an ambitious component to the Capricorn sun. There's a challenge-oriented energy to the Jupiter in Aries. And with sun to square Jupiter, okay, here's the thing. This is going to be helpful for some people and not so helpful for others, okay? Depending on how solar you are. So individuals, maybe you work with someone like this, maybe your neighbor is someone like this, maybe you know someone like this. The Sun square Jupiter is going to fuel some individuals who already have healthy ego, shall we say. So you can find that your overbearing boss is even more overbearing, or your egotistical friend is hyping themselves even more so. Like, this can put some people over the edge, like Jupiter expands for better and for worse. For some people who need to believe in themselves, this is really helpful. With Sun square Jupiter, it's like, why can't I have what I want? Why can't I have this ambition? And it's like hyping yourself up, however it is, whether it's like dancing to your favorite song in the mirror, working out, doing something that fuels your confidence levels and reminds you who the heck you are. Like, that is the energy with Sun square Jupiter. So fuel your ego, fuel your sense of self, feel confident and strong about the person that you are, and just like anchor into this idea, I'm worthy of my desires. So I feel like this will be helpful for my imposter syndrome loves. I don't feel like this will be too helpful for people where it's like, okay, your ego needs to come down a little bit. Like Sun square Jupiter, it definitely expands the ego. I do want to highlight that being mindful around what it is that you commit to with Sun square Jupiter, it's very much the vibe around, I can do it, give it to me. Or if you're like last minute with your holiday shopping, like with Sun square Jupiter, that could be a vibe around, I can get it all done by Thursday, no problem. Like, just know with this energy having smack dab in the middle of the week and Jupiter and Aries being very impulsive on its own, there can be a vibe where being a little bit too optimistic, a little bit too rushed, a little bit too overzealous. So grounding that down as appropriate. And on that note of that egotistical person, I also want to highlight on Wednesday's astrology, the Sag moon opposes Mars in Gemini. So people could be a little bit more rash, a little bit more hot-headed, and people with Sun square Jupiter who don't have the most grounded confidence, let's say it that way. It's like a little bit of hot air going on there. This could be the energy where they're feeling themselves enough to want to come for you, or be really argumentative, or be a little bit more hot-headed, preach about something, get on a soapbox telling everybody about what it is that they believe. Notice that as it comes to the surface, but try not to give it any energy. You don't need to fuel their ego even more so. And then the Sag moon trines Chiron in Aries, which is just a healing, helpful flow of energy. Particularly as it relates to relationships, not on its own, but when we apply the fact that Venus is building to trine Uranus. So there is this vibe around this fresh new energy coming into our love relationships, maybe a fresh new healing energy coming into love relationships. This was the energy I was chatting about, being open to different streams of income, right? Being open to different people that you can meet, like within love relationships, being open to new experiences, ensuring that you are enjoying any holiday celebrating or anything that you are doing of that nature. With Venus trine Uranus, it's very earthy, it's very grounded, but with the energy of Uranus, it's being open to new. So being open to new, interesting conversations as you are celebrating the holidays, or being open to that new bonus that you could receive, that unexpected flow of income that comes out, that good news that you're open to, that healing wave of energy within your love relationship, that hangout where you're just having fun and just genuinely enjoying one another's company. With Venus trine Uranus, it's about being open to the unexpected pleasures of life, however it is that they can come to the surface. And I just want to give a warm happy birthday to all of the Capricorns. We adore you for your groundedness, for your intelligence, for your sense of humor. Thank you for the role that you play within the zodiac. We love you. On Thursday, the 22nd, technically, Venus trine Uranus exacts 1:48 a.m. on Thursday, but like I said, a lot of us will feel it build Wednesday night as well as Thursday morning. So if you're feeling it Thursday morning, it would be great to make a really delicious breakfast, maybe go on a new hike, invite in pleasure, beauty, and harmony with those that you love, certainly on Thursday. Or maybe at work, bring the donuts. Bring the donuts. Everybody loves the donut bringing coworker, okay? Finding those ways to invite more pleasure and harmony wherever it is that you are, whether you're at work, whether you're with family, whether you're in your own home. It is a waning crescent moon, so this would be really nice to get rid of some stuff, to invite more beauty and harmony into your environment. Again, we're all in this energy around shedding and releasing as we prepare for the Capricorn new moon. And in the morning, you can find that there's a focused energy, but that dissipates later in the day. So try to bucket your most important tasks on Thursday early in the day as the Sag moon sextiles Saturn in Aquarius. It then goes on to square Neptune in Pisces, which is a little daydreamy. It's a little out there. It's the vibe where you're going through things. You're cleaning with the Saturn energy. You're focused. You got this. And then finally you find this box of mementos and you're like, oh, this was cute. And oh, remember this. And oh, should I finish knitting this? And it's like, let's stay on track. And then the moon will be void from that closing aspect of the Sag moon squaring Neptune in Pisces until 11:49 p.m. So with that void moon, it's definitely great for an adventure. It's definitely great to feel excited about life, but it's not great as it relates to the details, my love. Don't you dare bucket any important detail work that afternoon. Like truly Mercury's in its pre-retrograde shadow, so lean into this theme around rereading, checking everything, but especially Thursday afternoon. It's just a vibe where it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like I know this is a time like before the holiday break, if you're still working, there's like a vibe around not wanting to work as much, but I would just say with Thursday, definitely double check, because you can find that you're kind of all over the place, you're kind of glossing over things, you're a little bit more daydreamy. Best case scenario, take off work afternoon and go for a little adventure, but it's not always the best case scenario, especially with the square to Neptune and this waning crescent moon. Being open to your intuition, any insights that come from within, such as the purpose of solstice, right? Gathering in, looking inward, as well as the waning crescent moon, shedding and releasing in order to really tune into the wisdom underneath. So would be really aligned to be open to any sort of divine celestial insights that wish to come through. And then the evening at 11:49 p.m., the moon enters Capricorn, which is the sign of the new moon. So on Friday, the Capricorn new moon exacts at 2:13 a.m. And do know I've done a deep dive on this lunation, on where it's activating and landing within your chart. And with this Capricorn new moon, it's really around anchoring into our ambitions, right? Like with the energy in Capricorn. And again, it doesn't have to be capitalism. It doesn't have to be job-wise. It's this energy around wanting to ascend to the peak of your ability. So it's like, I've always wanted to dance. Why have I never taken a dance class? It's like about aligning to the higher version of yourself, the one who has everything that you want, the side of yourself that embodies personality traits that you know are within you, but you don't know how to get there. Like with Capricorn moon, it's the time to anchor it down and to know that you are worthy is a huge theme. Like it squares Jupiter, which is around being bold and courageous, like shooting our shot, right? And on the same day, Chiron stations direct. So there's this vibe around knowing that we are worthy, that our desires are not random. They were given to you for a reason, and healing what within you made you feel like you weren't worthy, that you needed to settle, right? With this Capricorn moon squaring Jupiter in Aries, certainly there is this remembering of who it is that you are. Maybe that's why you're feeling that call to come inward and to reflect and to surrender. It's remembering who it is that you are. And with Chiron direct, this forward momentum around healing the messages of what made you feel like you were not worthy, what made you feel like you had to lower your standards. Capricorn new moon is to really like set your standards high, right? Definitely with the square to Jupiter, you want to proceed cautiously. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. In this month's Magic Monthly, I was like talking about, I was like, you want to build a roof before you build a house, right? Like, don't get ahead of yourself, one step at a time. Know that the heights of the mountain that you want to climb is high, right? But with this burst of fresh new energy and of confidence from the Jupiter and Aries, you have what it takes for this journey. So know that you're worthy of it. Don't get so discouraged looking up at the mountain that you're like, I don't know if I can climb, so I'm not even going to try to do one step. Do one step and then the other and then the other. And with the square to Jupiter and Aries, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't sprint up the mountain. Slow and steady. Set your heights. Know that you are worthy. Believe in yourself. You can get to the top. And then focus on this step and this step in a steady pace. And while Chiron direct is powerful around feeling this forward momentum, around healing, around really remembering the person that we are, I do want to highlight, we feel Chiron strong when it changes. We feel planets strongly when they change directions. And again, not even a lot of astrologers use Chiron, so totally let it go if it does not resonate. I'm just big on Chiron. If you know my chart, you would know why, but big on Chiron, and we tend to feel planets more strongly, or in this case, comets, stronger when they are changing direction. So while Chiron can be this healing flow of energy, a lot of us can feel certain insecurities bubbling. Like Capricorn is a very pragmatic energy. It looks at anything around what's working and what's not working. And P.S., that's going to be a huge theme with the upcoming Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. But there can be a vibe where it's like realistic to the point of pessimistic, like looking at ourselves, looking at the higher version of ourselves and hyper fixating on all of the reasons why we are not living up to our potential, right? I don't want you to go down that rabbit hole. I don't want you to feel not enough, right? Like I want you to know, yes, I have some ways to go. There are things that I want that I do not currently have, but loving yourself in this iteration, because I promise to you, my love, as much as you may think that you will, like as soon as I'm famous, as soon as I'm successful, I'll love myself, like I'll be healed. That's not how it works. Like it needs to happen within your journey. It's not there waiting at the top. That's a tricky thing about success, is that you think it's going to make you happy. You think it's going to fix everything. You think you can succeed your way out of healing, and that's not how it works. I know. That's why we hear all of these celebrities talking about fame. They're like, it doesn't fix anything. It just makes it more complicated. It just magnifies everything that you already felt was wrong with you. Like, maybe not everybody's trying to be famous, but just with this energy and this attunement to our goals, what it is that we want to do with Chiron direct, ensure that you are integrating your healing on that pursuit, right? Ensure that you are loving yourself as this version, but also loving yourself enough to know that you are capable of even more, right? So with Chiron direct, there can be a shaking up of our insecurities and our wounds, and the moon does square Chiron later that evening, which could aggravate it, but just feeling it in order to heal it and allowing it to permeate in order to integrate. I felt like that was going to rhyme in my head, but it didn't really rhyme. But alas, some Chiron energy on Friday. So our forecast for Saturday. So the Capricorn moon meets up with Venus and Mercury, which is really delightful as it relates to conversation, as it relates to pleasurable experiences. Like there's really a vibe that we want to connect. We want to ground down. We want to enjoy life. Would be great to make something delicious, go somewhere beautiful, spend time with people you love. There really is a desire to ground down. Now the moon is in Capricorn, so we can feel that our emotional state is a little bit more stark or a little bit more grounded. But again, with it meeting up with Mercury, the planet of language, and Venus, the planet of love and beauty and leisure, there is a desire to soothe ourselves via sensual experiences as well as relational dynamics. Now, both the moon and Mercury sextile Neptune in Pisces. And with Mercury sextile Neptune, this is like the sort of vibe in the job interview where you're like painting a picture. You're like, if you hire me, I will be the ideal employee. I'm gonna do all of these things. And like we've been chatting about with this new moon, like maybe let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? One step at a time. Like that's great. That ambition, what it is that you want is great. Let's take it one step at a time. And with Mercury sextile Neptune, it's like painting this picture with our words, right? Around, I could do this for you and I could be this for you and it's gonna be so great. And loves, I'm gonna share with you guys an interview tip. I learned this during a college course I took that was called interviewing, and it was the best class I've ever taken, like the most useful class I've ever taken. And my professor shared that like at the end of the interview, one of the questions that you should ask is, what would success in this position look like to you in 3 years? Like how will you know that you made the right hire for this position? And as they paint that picture around, they would hit these metrics, the company would look like this, the growth would look like this. Subconsciously, they're associating that vision with you, because you asked it during the interview, right? And so they're getting swept away in the vision around, oh, success would look like this, and we would have these metrics. And because you asked, they're associating that vision with you and almost subconsciously placing you within the role within their mind. So just a sneaky little interview tip. I guess you could also do that dating wise, like be like, what would a successful relationship look like to you? What would the ideal relationship look like to you? Because they do subconsciously relate it to you. So with Mercury sextile Neptune, like it's kind of a nice energy because, as I highlighted, Capricorn is very rooted in the present, and the sextile is Neptune is like, imagine what it could be. Like be where you are currently, but imagine what it could be, right? And to spend some time around envisioning, around dreaming. We're still in the new moon phase, so allowing yourself to set your sights. This is when, if you need to do it before the new year, truly a lot of planets are retrograde, so it's not the most aligned time for New Year's resolutions. But if you do want to do New Year's resolutions, I would definitely recommend working with either the Capricorn new moon on Friday or any of this Capricorn new moon energy. The new moon's active for 3 days time. Envision the future, embolden the future, and know that you are worthy of your future. Your desires and the future visions that you have are not random, okay? Now, after all that dreamy Neptunian energy, the moon does conjoin Pluto, so there can be some intensity. I know holidays do tend to be intense for some individuals, so with the moon conjoining Pluto, you can be feeling things really intensely. Sometimes this is energy that is associated with jealousy or obsession or rumination. So if your holidays don't look exactly as you would want them to, there can be like a really deep, intense feeling. If you're at like a family gathering or something of that nature, there can be an intense feeling or intense longing or realizing who's not there at the dinner table that you guys miss. Like just creating that space for this depth of emotion, as well as for any of my loves who have a really hard time stepping away from the computer to enjoy the holidays if you celebrate. I know not everybody celebrates, but with the Capricorn moon conjunct Pluto, being mindful of really checking out, logging out of your business Instagram or handling that last email, there can be an intense drive to want to continue to work. And then that evening, the moon does enter Aquarius, where it promptly sextiles Jupiter in Aries, which is appreciating our friends, and with the sextile in Jupiter, feeling a little bit more open-minded about what the future could entail. And so what is our weather forecast for Christmas if you do celebrate? So the moon is in Aquarius all day, which is a little bit more detached. It's not a very warm energy, certainly, on Sunday. Does trine Mars and Gemini, so for my loves who have kids, they could be a little hyper, a little excited. There's definitely a rush of energy on Sunday. You might feel motivated to go for a walk after opening presents or something of the nature. You could get something unexpected as the moon does square Uranus, so something unexpected could occur, or maybe you break out one of the new gifts that you have and it's not working quite as you imagine. Like Uranus energy is absolutely expect the unexpected energy, and there is a sextile to Chiron, which is now direct, so there's this forward momentum as it relates to our healing. So with the Chiron energy, there might be certain pings of insecurity. I wish it looked like this. I wish my life looked like this, but allowing ourselves to integrate and move forward. Like, fixate your gaze upon what it is that you want for your future and for your own potential. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is I am worthy of my desires. This is a week to set our sights high, right? And with Jupiter, it's giving us this fresh new rush of energy around the courage that is needed to climb to the top of the mountain, to climb to the top of our desires, the ambition that is necessary in order to fuel our journey up to the top. With the Chiron energy, just feeling worthy of it, right? Allowing yourself to understand, okay, you might not be exactly where you want to be and who it is that you want to be, but who it is that you are now is not all that you will be and all that you will accomplish. And it's like loving this iteration and loving yourself enough to flesh out those ideas, loving yourself enough to flesh out that ambition, enough to flesh out those desires. Like in our job interview scenario, it's like you have to overcome that imposter syndrome. You have to overcome where it is that you have not felt worthy. You have to present the most efficient, the most actualized version of yourself in order to secure the position, in order to advance yourself and your ambition. And you have to see yourself as someone who is worthy because you are. And all of this fresh new energy is supporting you in both knowing that you are worthy currently and that you will still have the exact same amount of worthiness once you achieve all that you want to achieve, right? Like you need to embody your healing here. You need to love yourself here. You need to embody your worthiness here. It won't be waiting you atop your ambitions, atop your success. Now, you should still go for success, right? Because you owe it to yourself. That is self-love, truly, is loving where we are now and loving ourselves enough to flesh out our potential. And climbing to the top with healing, climbing to the top with love, and climbing to the top because you are worthy, not because you feel like you have to prove yourself, not because you feel like success will alleviate all of the healing that's necessary. Climbing to the top of your own ambitions because you are worthy of your desires. My loves, my Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water, stay